Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. It is traditional at the end of every year that various papers are released by various governments. They're all subject to different time rules. The 5, the 10, the 15, the 20, 50, even 100 years. You can't go and look to see what the Queen's will was for another 99 years. So, hey kids, keep fit. But what this has thrown up is a whole series of stuff that's been released and the press are poring over it and they're looking for the more juicy stories. And we have one here that relates to a problem that was a problem 15 years ago and which is possibly now even worse 15 years later. And they've got no excuse. They've known about this for that amount of time and they've done precisely nothing. Alex Salmond was very worried that he was going to get sued by Scottish prisoners in contravention of the European Convention on Human Rights on the treatment of prisoners because the Scottish sort of prison service wasn't up to standard. You had Victorian prisons. And what's worse is these same prisons are still operating today. Only there's even more prisoners in them. Clearly not fit for purpose. They've done nothing to sort it out. And so those prisoners may yet sue today. Let's have a look, see what's going on and what went on 15 years ago. Here goes. So there you go. Alex Salmond's government feared prisoners would sue them due to overcrowded prisons. So they knew in 2008, 15 years ago, that the prisons were so overcrowded that they represented a breach of human rights so bad that the prisoners themselves could sue the Scottish government. And so they should have embarked on doing something to ease this problem. You know, build another prison. Well, it's been 20 years. And, well, it's been 15 years to now. But the prisons that they said they're going to build still aren't ready. They won't be ready for another 5 years minimum. So it'll be 20 years to try and build a prison. Is it any wonder everything in Scotland fails when it takes 20 years to build a prison? It's ridiculous. The former First Minister's cabinet struggled with a growing prison population back in 2008, with the then Justice Secretary, Kenny McCaskill, suggesting a number of soft-touch justice solutions, basically letting people out and not putting them in the first place. Very reassuring, I'm sure, you know. Alex Salmond's government feared that prisoners would sue them due to overcrowded prisons in Scotland. And, of course, it's gone up. There's even more people in prison now, and they haven't added any prisons. So, therefore, it must be even more uncrowded today. Recently released cabinet papers revealed that the minority SNP administration in 2008 were concerned that jails were breaching human rights, and they could lead to court action. In the first year of the nationalist reign, the prison population reached an all-time high in the country, which heaped pressure on the justice system and prisons. There was an operating capacity of 6,625, but the number of people locked up hit 7,736 in April of 2008, and it would rise to above 8,000 before the end of the year. Ministers were told at a cabinet meeting on the 6th of May 2008 that prisoners could mount a successful legal challenge under the European Convention on Human Rights. And minutes from the meeting said this had put severe pressure on the estate and on the Scottish Prison Service contingency arrangements. There was no spare capacity that could be used for the handling of any unexpected emergency. So they knew. And did they at that point say, let's go and build another prison? Well, they might have thought it. But they didn't do anything. They did nothing. What they thought was, let's release dangerous criminals back onto the streets. Yay, that'll save us from being sued. Of course, other people are going to suffer, but it's only them, it's not us. That's how these people deal with things, isn't it? Additionally, there was a possibility that prisoners may be able to mount a successful challenge to current conditions under the ECHR, the report went on. And in response to the pressure, the then Justice Secretary, Kenny McCaskill, proposed the passing of secondary legislation, which would create a short-term release programme for prisoners to be used if overcrowding became unmanageable. Well, the moment you're won over the designed capacity, You are overcrowded. That's it. Why don't you start sending the prisoners south of the border to England? Or, better still, build a bigger, badder prison. A paper put to ministers ahead of the meeting said that for every 100 prisoners in the early release programme, £6,000 would have to be paid in discharge grants, £8,000 weekly in living costs, and the paper went on to say very few of the measures I am proposing will be easy to sell, either politically or to the public. Yeah, so basically, these are people that the courts have deemed dangerous enough to be locked up. We're going to release them early and give them lots of public money to do so. How on earth are you selling that? However, if you say, Scotland's got a problem with the prisoners, we've got too many and we haven't got enough spaces, so we're proposing to build another prison to keep these people that the courts have said are so dangerous they need to be off the streets, people will back you. Mr McCaskill said tabloid media would slam the government as soft on crime and anti-prison. Yes, and not just tabloid media, all media. And more importantly, the people. While it would become easier for members of the former Labour Liberal Democrat Scottish Government to distance themselves from the problem, and in its discussions the Cabinet said the presentational issues were significant. Yeah, you try selling this to the masses, to the people of Scotland, the victims of crime, the ones who've gone there and been in court and made sure that whoever it is has been convicted and imprisoned, and now all of a sudden this person that may have done you physical harm could be released and he was going to get your money, your taxes, to pay for his release. Good luck. That would not sit well with anyone. Anyway, the minute said, in order that the government should not be perceived to be paying prisoners for early release, it would be essential to ensure that community integration licences be linked to work-based placements in the community, and that these placements be seen as effective form of rehabilitation and promoting the value of community sentences. In other words, we're going to give it some old bullshit and spin to make it look as though it's not as bad as it is. But it is pretty bad. You're releasing criminals. Oh yeah, but look, they've got a job. Yeah, but they're still criminals. They've still done the crime, but they're not doing the time. What's to stop them doing it again? The threat of going back in? They had the threat of going back in when they did it the first time. That's not a threat. The most recent figures for Scotland's prison population, published in December, showed the average daily number was 7,422, still higher than the capacity. And concerns have been raised recently about overcrowding again. Some of the jails in the country are dating back from the Victorian era, and they're awful, and they're terrible. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't expect prisoners to be sitting in, holiday camps. But for the safety of the guards, you need to have modern prisons, and you need to have no overcrowding issues, because otherwise it ends up very, very dangerous powder keg places. And whilst I don't mind the prisoners knocking their heads together, you don't want the officers getting harmed at all. Anyway, I shall round off there, but it is just a case of saying, c'est la vie. Nothing changes, what goes around comes around. And 15 years ago, you had major problems of overcrowding, and here we are 15 years later, and not a single prison has been built in that time. And they know they need one. Build one big 2,000 capacity prison, and you can end the overcrowding and still have a little bit extra, just in case. Anyway, I shall stop there. Come up and round this video off. I would like to see a few more prisoners go into jail, but I want specific people, Freeman, Sturgeon, Yousaf, Robinson, all of them really. They should make the SNP a prescribed organisation. Anyone who's a member, just throw them in jail. So yeah, put them up. Build another couple of jails. I'll keep saying it. You need to build a single jail just for the SNP. They're all so bad. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button. We're getting very close now to 9,000. We're only about 100 away. And if you hit the button, it really, really helps. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.